Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Here.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Here.
Councilman Dooley?
Here.
Councilman Marcocia?
Here.
Supervisor Calavita?
Here. Okay, we have our first opportunity to address the board on a specific agenda item. Anyone? No, there not being none, we'll move forward. Approval of minutes of the April 19th, 2022 Town Board meeting and the April 20th, 2022 Special Town Board meeting. Any modifications or amendments?
None.
There being none, someone care to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Next, we have our correspondence agenda. We have a memorandum from the controller on part-time seasonal employees. I'll make a motion to approve them. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
All right. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Lake Isle's gearing up for action. Now we have a memorandum from the controller on changing the town attorney position to full-time, and what we're doing presently is converting the position from a what we call a three-quarter part-time position to a full-time position, as the obligations of the town attorney have extraordinarily expanded in the last 15 years to the point where it's really, really busy, very, very busy. And our position is to, in essence, have more work done in-house for less outside counsel, which generally works to our benefit, because if you factor the salary out, it's probably a little less than half of what we would pay our usual and customary rate for outside counsel, and even that is half of what normal attorneys charge as well. So I'll make the motion and ask for a second, please.
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Okay, next we have a memorandum from the Superintendent of Parks and Recreation regarding rejection of the 2022 summer camp bus bid. And what happened was we had a huge surge in enrollment for our younger grades, and we had less enrollment in our older grades. So the configuration that we went out with regard to how many buses we needed for what days is frankly obsolete. So this and the next motion, the next item on the agenda are connected, but for purposes of doing things in a proper order, I would make the motion authorizing the town to reject the initial bus bid received on Friday, April 22nd, 2022, and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Now, next and following up on that, we have a memo from the Superintendent of Parks and Recreation requesting to go to permission to rebid for the buses for the 2022 summer camp with greater alignment for what our needs are with regard to times and size of buses and routes and all. So with that being said, I'll make the motion to authorize going out to bid again to rebid for the buses for the 2022 camp season, and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Next, I have a memo from the Superintendent of Senior Programs and Services regarding an agreement with the County of Westchester for our senior programs and services for the year 2022, and this is for the nutrition incentives, our nutrition incentive program, which is our senior center meals and also our home delivered meals. So the aggregate to be paid to the town of Eastchester is $88,008, and the total aggregate amount for the contract to match is $24,906. That's us. And that would be for this year coming up. Now we're back in swing up at the senior center, so we need to make sure we feed everybody. So, someone care to make a motion on that?
I'll move it.
Second.
All right, thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcocia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Next is a similar memo from the Director of Superintendent of Senior Programs and Services with regard to our senior program and services for the 2022 year as well, from 1/1/22 to 12/31/22. And this is for our transportation aid, and this is for the sum not to exceed $7,247. And this is to support 2 of our daily transportation services for older residents. That's trips to and from the nutrition center at Lake Isle. And also, as everyone may or may not be aware, we have medical transportation for our seniors also. So if you need a ride to your doctor or need a ride from your doctor home, we'll provide that for you. And also, the town will contribute $5,036 in matching funds to the program as well. So, someone care to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcoccia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. And as I mentioned earlier, now that we're back in swing up at the community center where our senior citizen program is, we need to deal with supplying, washing, and delivering linen for the tablecloths and for the facilities up there. So we've done a lot of research, and I want to thank, of course, Peter Basha for doing all of his pricing, and the town attorney for working out the agreements. So this service will cost $33,304 for the balance of 2022, and the contract is attached. So inasmuch as it's less than $35,000, we don't need to go to bid, but we, in essence, did anyway because we got prices from everybody. So I'll make the motion. Ask for a second, please.
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcoccia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Next is a memo from our Superintendent of Highways regarding the awarding of the 2022 street resurfacing contract. And we went out to bid, and at the unit prices, the low bid was PCI Industries. The bid was reviewed and is in accordance with its specifications. So we're going to be spending approximately $1,156,000 on surfacing throughout the town, including some areas, parking lots that the town owns. And this also is in conjunction with the villages and one of the school districts that is also taking advantage of our bid process. And the more we have joined in, obviously, the lower the prices per ton. So with that being said, I'll make the motion that the 2022 street resurfacing contract be awarded to the low bidder, PCI Industries Corp., at the unit prices bid, and ask for a second, please.
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcoccia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Next, we have a memorandum from the Superintendent of Highways regarding the award of the 2022 sidewalk and curb replacement contract. And the bidder, the successful bidder is Palladino Concrete Creations Corp. From Mount Vernon, and they have done an excellent job for the town for several years, and they're also town residents, which is nice. So I will make the motion that the base bid in options A and B under our replacement project be awarded to Palladino Concrete at the unit prices bid. I'll ask for a second, too.
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte?
Aye.
Councilman Dooley?
Aye.
Councilman Marcoccia?
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita?
Aye. Next, we have a memorandum from the Superintendent of Highways regarding a proclamation of Arbor Day 2022. And ever since I've been on this board, we have been declared and maintain our membership in the Tree City USA program. And each year we try to plant at least 250 trees. Unfortunately, though, a lot more trees are coming down. Trees are getting older, especially maples with a small root ball. When the wind blows a lot and they have leaves on them during certain storms, there's a tremendous wind load and they're toppling over. That's why lately you've seen we've put a lot of cherry trees in, a lot of oaks. We really haven't done more than that, a couple of hickories here and there, but the goal is to try to leaf the town up as best we can. So we're going to seek to declare Friday, May 6th, 2022, as Arbor Day within the town of Eastchester, and we look forward to a program wherein we usually go to Ann Hutchinson School or Greenvale School or Cottle School, and we have the youngsters there help plant a tree. So they get the whole, concept of growing trees and taking a little bit of license with the trees and some ownership interest in them. And it's worked out very, very well. And I think many of the board members attended the ceremony down at the bottom of Highland Avenue, where there's a little park area there. And the Brownies, the Girl Scouts, planted a bunch of small saplings. And we were there together with a tree company that works with the town, and the Treacher, which is a stuffed animal, or not stuffed, a walking caricature that Judy Blau provides. And if I was in it, it would be stuffed. But I'm sure there was a person that was able walking in the interior of that. And we planted, or they planted, I should say, multiple saplings. And if you drive by, you'll see there's some that are still around, but they get replanted all over. And they also help us with erosion and stormwater management. But enough said. So someone care to make a motion to declare Friday, May 6th, Arbor Day within the town of Eastchester?
So moved.
Second.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Aye.
Councilman Dooley.
Aye.
Councilman Marcoccia.
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita.
Aye. Next, we have miscellaneous business, and we're just seeking for a single instance to change the time of the May 17th meeting to 7 p.m. as opposed to 8 p.m. The purpose for that is that we have a lot of promotions and a lot of assignments in the police department, and fortunately, a lot of the officers want to bring their families, and there are a lot of young people that are in their families. A lot of young kids will be in attendance, which is great. So in order to get them to sleep earlier and to get the program over with a little earlier, I think this is coming more from the spouses of a lot of officers, but certainly we want to accommodate their requests. And it'll be somewhat of a lengthy program in that we have multiple promotions to make and appointments and assignments. So anyway, so I'll make the motion to change the meeting time from 8 to 7 p.m. here on the 17th.
So moved.
All right, or a second?
I'll
Second.
All right, thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Marcotte.
Aye.
Councilman Dooley.
Aye.
Councilman Marcoccia.
Aye.
Supervisor Calavita.
Aye. Okay, that brings us to our council member reports. Councilman Marcoccia.
Thank you, Supervisor. Just a couple of brief things. First of all, I was so pleased to attend the official grand opening of the Senior Center at Lake Isle. It's just a stunning new facility there for our seniors. It was really beautiful, and we had really good attendance. And I hope that all the seniors will stop by sooner rather than later. It's really, really beautiful, like I said. And still a little work to be done there in the kitchen with some additional equipment that needs to be installed. But other than that, it looks great, and we're going to have some really nice programming coming up there. So congratulations to the seniors for that beautiful new building that they have. And I also wanted to mention that Lake Isle registration is ongoing. It's actually going very well, especially with golf, and the pool's starting to pick up with the hot weather coming as well. So if you haven't registered yet, please go ahead and do it before the lines start forming. You could also do it online, speaking of lines, and that's been a very popular option as well. So just go to www.lakeislecountryclub.com, and you could just register online as well. That concludes my report.
Councilman Dooley.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This weekend, I attended the Eastchester PBA Pasta Night fundraiser, which benefited the Michael Frey Scholarship Foundation. There was great food, it was well-attended, and it was great to see all the police officers volunteering and helping out there. Just a great night overall. Also, I'd just like to remind people that, or just make a statement, there was, in my neighborhood over the weekend, there were a couple of catalytic converters stolen from cars. And Chief, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seemed to happen over Saturday night. A couple of catalytic converters were stolen, and they got away, and it seems to be going around the county, this type of activity. So, if the police recommend that you park your car close to your house, if you have a sensor light outside, make sure that's working. But it is running rampant around the county, so just be cautious. If you hear noise outside between 3, 4, or 5 o'clock in the morning, sounds like mechanical work going on, call the police department. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay.
Chief, did I get that right? All right.
Councilwoman Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, everyone. News from the Eastchester Public Library. There was a little bit of a computer interruption this past week or two, and it was actually the Westchester Library System Network was the target of the sophisticated ransomware attack, and security measures were in place and no patron data was compromised. And in order to ensure a safe internet environment for all patrons, public computers at Eastchester Public Library will be unavailable for the next several days until WLS can fully restore services. Thank you for understanding and patience during this time. That was from the Eastchester Library. And it's a nice springtime weather. They do have the Reedy patio is now open, so come out, enjoy, and read. And there's free Wi-Fi available. What's coming up is Thursday, there's a Mother's Day craft at the library. Donation drive is happening for the Hope Store, and there's an M&M production return at the library. And you can get more detail about all these lovely events at www.eastchesterlibrary.org. The next Traffic Parking Advisory Committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, May 24th at 7 p.m. If you go to www.eastchester.org, under the department's TPAC, the organizations, you would find an email where you could submit if you have any issues with the traffic and parking to submit. Also, we have, again, our American Cancer Society Relay for Life event happening in May, on May 21st at the Lake Isle. This is a huge event. You can log into American Cancer Society Relay for Life Eastchester event to find more about this. We have several students from the middle school and high school that attend, and a lot of other local organizations participate, and the residents. So come out and support American Cancer Society. And I'll just shortly say Thursday, May 26th at 7:30, we have the 14th Annual Care Coalition Candlelight Vigil. We have 2 committee members here tonight, and they will be speaking about that event in more detail. And that is all I have for this evening.
Thank you. Councilwoman Marcotte.
Thank you, Supervisor. Just very briefly, from the Recreation Department, summer camp registration, the last day to do that is coming up. It's May 13th, so if you haven't done that and you wish to participate, again, the last day is May 13th. You can do that online, or you can call the department at 771-3311. I also want to remind residents, I know we're a few weeks away from Memorial Day, but May 30th, Memorial Day marks the 100th anniversary of the Memorial Day Parade in the village of Bronxville. So it would be nice to see all the residents come out and be on the sidelines or march along with the village and the bands and the veterans, and to honor and support them. Also on May 29th in the village of Bronxville at the high school, starting at 7 p.m., is going to be a ceremony honoring our veterans, and it will be commemorating the 80th anniversary of the Doolittle Raid. So it promises to be a great evening. We welcome everybody. Doors open at 6:15. There's information, I believe, online, or you can call Village Hall or Town Hall and get more information in that regard. And then lastly, I want to congratulate Eastchester Little League for their spectacular opening day ceremony yesterday. It really was, it was glorious. The weather was amazing, and it was a great opportunity for all the kids to come out. The league does a fabulous job, and they honored people like Lenny Marone, who his own personal time, he takes care of the field, and so many others. And additionally, they retired 2 numbers. And they retired number 7, Harrison Bader, and number 12, John Doherty. 2 guys who got their humble beginnings, if you will, right here on the fields in Eastchester, Little League, and went on to play in the Major League. So it was a great day. My colleagues in government were there to join in and support everybody, so kudos to them. And that concludes my report, Supervisor.
Thank you. For my own report, I just want to piggyback on something Sheila had mentioned with regard to our seniors, our veterans. We had talked about this very briefly during our Lake Isle Advisory Board meetings, but I think what we should do, and I know the board will be very supportive of this, is for all active duty service persons, we should give them a substantial discount at Lake Isle for the summer season, the golf program, the tennis program, et cetera. And I think we should extend a discount to our veterans as well. I received an email from somebody about 4 or 5 months ago, and it hit me that I don't think we had an active duty discount there. But certainly for those that are giving their time to this country and defending our nation, and for their family members, I think we should do that. So I'll circulate a memo from the board members and Lake Isle Advisory Board and come up with some, amount of a discount. But I think that's something that we should definitely be doing, as, we need to respect their service to this country. Secondly, I want to just recognize the Lally family. Today, we dedicated a home plate at Parkway Oval to Terry Lally. Terry was an umpire for many, many years, and he's no longer with us, unfortunately. But we thought it would be a good idea to do something in his memory at a field that he commanded total control of as the umpire. So today, the home plate was named for him, and a plaque, of course, went up. Also, on the 14th, Saturday the 14th, at 9 a.m. is the Tuckahoe Police Department Memorial Service, and at 11 o'clock here at Town Hall is the Eastchester Police Department Memorial Service. So we recognize everyone that passed during previous years, and we also give commendations out to our officers. So I would urge all to attend. It is a moving ceremony. It is a great idea to come out and support your local police department. And it's important, I think, in my opinion. Lastly, I want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, including my own and my wife, and everyone up here who's a mom. God bless you all, and happy Mother's Day to each of you, and hope you have a very uneventful, relaxing day. But, I said it with tongue-in-cheek because it never works out that way. But anyway, that concludes my report, and that brings us to the second opportunity to address the board. Come on up. Just give us your name, please. Thank you.
Hello. First, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Kim Colasuno, and I'm here with Sammy Bastone. We are members of the local organization in the town of Eastchester called the CARE Coalition, responding to the nationwide mental health crisis and its effect on our community. The CARE Coalition was founded by volunteers that were really looking to bring help and healing to our community. Our website, lovenevergivesup.com, was created to provide a directory of resources and to offer the support needed by people in times of despair. Our goal is to connect those in need with those who care, encouraging community members to join the coalition, add to the resources list, attend our events geared at raising awareness, and share personal stories of recovery and healing to give hope to those that are still struggling.
So as mentioned, the CARE Coalition 5th Annual Candlelight Vigil is Thursday, May 26th. It'll take place at 7:30 p.m. at the gazebo right across from Town Hall. The event will feature speeches and performances by both those affected by substance abuse and members of our community, bringing us all together and stronger as a group than on our own. We'll also honor the lives of those we've lost due to the mental health crisis. It's a really special night of remembrance and hope, and we're honored to be hosting for a 5th year in a row. We hope to see you all there, and again, we really appreciate the town's support over the last 5 years.
You're very welcome. Why don't you just give us that website address again, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it's lovenevergivesup.com.
Lovenevergivesup.com. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to address the board. Frank Sweeney, 22 Lakeview Avenue. And I have 4 items on the agenda tonight, so I hope it won't keep you too long, but I think they're short and sweet. I want to thank the chief for putting out the press release for the Green Knolls situation with the catalytic converters. I thought it was right on target. But I also would like to ask is that, can you share with us on anything on the Brook Street issue in terms of the capability?
I'm sorry, Frank. The Brook Street issue?
Brook Street issue. We had a car taken from one of the...
I cannot illuminate. Chief, any comment? Well, you can speak to the chief afterward, rather than go talk back and forth to each other.
As I understand it, there was a car stolen from the Brook Street deli. last week.
Was it reported to the department?
The police were there, as I understand.
Okay, all right.
But what happens is, these newer cars that have the fobs in them, when you leave the fob in the car, guess what? You turn the car over to thieves. So I was really kind of concerned. I didn't want to cut it off at the pass, but I know they did a 10 door, and they were there. And a car pulled up alongside a car that had the fob sitting in the center console, jumped in the car, started it, and took off.
You know what's happening also now? Apple makes this little device that you attach to your keys
Yep.
or your phone in case you lose it, and so people are actually dropping them in pocketbooks and bars and restaurants and all, and then finding out where people are with their cars, finding out where they live, and then when you know the car or the person is away from the house, going in to rob the house. That's the latest little tech scam that's going on these days. So be advised of that also.
I would just appreciate it if you could follow up, because basically, it was in broad daylight. Two guys arrive in a car, they pull up alongside the second car, the fob sitting in the center console, jumped in the car, took off.
But he'll get back, the chief will get back to you.
Okay, so I've had a request from some of the newer neighbors in the neighborhood in the Northeast Chester Civic Association. I know that we, at one point in time, took a look at an inquiry on a possible dog run in back of Sugazi Field, where the rock cropping is outlined. I'm not sure whether that's something we could consider, but I've had a number of younger residents, newer residents that have small dogs, looking for a place to have their dogs run in a combined space. So,
Well, it's possible, Frank. I know we had queued up the Scout Field
Yeah.
to be a substantial 50,000 square foot dog run, but the county of Westchester and the town are no longer in a relationship wherein we're managing the property. But as I gather, they're moving forward with some component of development of Upper Scout Field. So I'm not sure, but I think we should just give it a little bit of time and see what they do. If they put the dog run in, great. If not, then maybe we can consider doing something else.
I think they were looking for something a little more regional in terms of something.
Closer to home,
A
yeah.
little close to home. And basically, Ewart Avenue is a heavily trafficked east-west conveyed, and walking the dogs with their kids a little tight in terms of the
Possible. That's not a bad spot, actually, because it's heavily wooded.
Yep.
And it'll keep all the skunks and the raccoons out of there, too.
The third item is, about a month and a half ago, I talked about the possibility of a signal at the entrance of Lake Isle. On your recommendation, we went back to TPAC, we went back to the Lake Isle Advisory Board. So we tried to do all the work in terms of the capability of making sure we weren't making any mistakes in terms of our requirements. We had an agreement with TPAC that basically they were going to take a look at the possibility, and I did send you have a copy of this memo, basically where I thought we were a little bit ahead of the game. Last TPAC, I think I fell behind the game. I think that it's convenient for the town to take a second look, and I know that we retain a traffic engineer in Margaret Yuli's domain, so they could probably give us some guidelines and some indication on what it would take to present it to New York State. The initial proposal came back and they'd like to wait longer than I want to wait. I'm not going to be around that much longer, to be honest. But I think there's a couple of alternatives we can take a look at. One is the light, which is the arrow, and New York State indicated that they wanted to make sure that 2 stanchion poles on both sides of the Route 22 could support one additional light, which would be the arrow heading into Lake Isle, southbound on 22. And the new option would be, like they have, just a delayed light, so people could make the left-hand turn and delay the traffic coming north on 122 for a much less environmental impact. It probably could be done through the box that's on there on the poles right now. with no additional money other than programming those lights, to have a delay coming down, delay coming forward, so they can make the left-hand turn into Lake Isle. Now, that's, my opinion, probably 1/10 the cost of a new light.
Yeah, at Lake, just so you know, at the intersection of Nick Farrella Way, or
Yes.
what we used to call Burnham
Exactly,
Road,
yeah.
they gave us, I think, a second and a half or 2 seconds extra green to get everybody out from Handle Field and the shopping center. So something like that is, still analysis has to be done by the DOT, but that is certainly, it's not a tenth, it's about a 100,000th of the cost of a light, because the lights, a new lights configuration there will be a lot of money, in as much as it's also a brand-new installation. And also keep in mind, too, that when the DOT did its study, its analysis for their new configuration at intersection, I'm sure they did, stamps, and they did, they have their data. So it may be a good idea to remind them that the lights are probably not even 5, 6 years old, and that they could go back to their files. Probably not a lot changed since then.
Okay, I'm trying to determine, is there something less expensive in order to keep us moving ahead? And maybe the long-term ranges, maybe we do need a signal there to
Well,
get a
keep
left-hand.
in mind, that's in the complete purview of the DOT. And they also have to take into consideration the timing of the California Road light, the Leewood light with the tunnel traffic coming up from the Parkway, and then you have the high school light, so it's all dominoed.
Yep.
But, we also can ask them to experiment with that and try it out for a couple of months, see what happens.
Okay, and the other thing is, I don't,
Anytime you put an arrow, you stop traffic somewhere else.
Right, for those at home, the candidate chief,
okay,
On White Plains Road, it could.
the chief's, for those that can't hear, the chief's comment was that anytime you take time or add time to one thing, you take time away from someone else. So the ripple effect can be devastating. But let's let the engineers, the traffic engineers, do some calculation and see what they say. Can't hurt.
let's put it in the hands of the engineers.
Yeah.
And let's let it fall where it may.
Sure.
In terms of the capability. The other thing is that I don't know whether we've ever approached the state on whether there's funding for highway funding in terms of lightening the load on 22, because if we did put the light on, it would help traffic flow.
It might.
Might, I don't know.
But what the state normally does, the state says, oh, if you want to make a change, be our guest, make sure you pay for your engineer, make sure your engineer comes up with a solid plan that we can approve, and then make sure you pay for it all. And, each light, like the installation at at Swift and White Plains Road, Trader Joe's, I'll call it, Citibank's installation, that was about $350,000, 15 years ago?
Okay.
So, it's a lot of money for light. And a configuration of lights, with a T intersection, a broken T, it's not inexpensive. But let's see what the DOT has to say first, because we can speculate all we
The
want.
science take its course here, okay?
Right.
Let's
But
the
if they say
engineer-
no, it doesn't matter what we want to do.
That's right.
It's out.
The other thing is that I don't know whether we've ever approached them, but maybe there's a partnership that may take place. If we don't ask, we don't know in terms of the capability.
Yeah, they will not give us, it will not
The other
happen.
thing is that this is a win-win situation for the town. Win for the club, win for the community and the residents, and good for the 4,000 members that joined Lake Isle. We have another 10 or 12,000 people that use the facilities in terms of catering, that use that facility as well. I think it's a dynamite idea, not because it's mine, but the idea it makes it a better place, and I don't think you can put a cost on safety. That's all. My fourth item, I don't know whether I should bring it up, but you all know what I'm going to talk about, is cabling. Maybe it's unfair because Lou is not here. Last time I spoke, he was going to get something done, so I'd rather defer it if he's not prepared to answer the questions as it relates to the old contract, the new contract, whether they're going to do something, they're not going to do something, or we had an impasse. Have they done anything with the 25 photos that I sent them? I don't want to go there. I'm looking for results. It's been 6 months. We're going to get it done on the contract. You can't get it done on the contract because we need an old contract and we need a new contract. The old contract, do we have any wherewithal to have them come and fix the mess that they presented? Do we have any way?
As we've told you repeatedly, it's not up to us to do that, it's up to them to do that. We cannot go cut their wires and do whatever. We've been after them, they've done many spots in town, but if it's not up to, we can't just tell them what to do. They're a separate utility company that we have, unfortunately, little control over.
I'd like to take a photo, if you can, of this telephone pole. This is getting to a point where it's getting worse. It's in your face. That's what it is. It's in your face.
Well, I've been driving around. I don't think it's I hate to use the word pandemic, but a epidemic, but it's certainly present, and we need to address it, and we have addressed it.
I don't know if you can see it on the TV.
Yeah, they can't see that now.
Can't see it. I don't know if you...
You can just describe it.
The idea is that we're going to let it continue.
But you're not understanding. We don't have control to tell them to take it all down now. We're in the middle of negotiation with the contract, the cable contract. We're looking to effectively put that into the agreement. But the process doesn't take a week or 2 weeks. It takes a while because it's extraordinarily complicated. It's very involved. Not this issue, but the other issues we have to deal with.
I want to go back to the initial contract that we have in place now. Is it in place now? And
No,
it's
not.
enforceable?
And it is in place nowhere. No other municipality has ever required that the utility company remove wires in their Cablevision or their, I'm going to call it their franchise agreement, their cable contract. We're like the first to do that now because we realize there's a problem here. So that's what we're doing.
We're going to allow this to continue on?
Well, we can't take it down, so it's going to continue on.
Tell you what,
yes.
Joe. You want to go to 10 Scarsdale Avenue? Last week, there's a 100-foot of cable wrapped around a telephone pole in green knolls. No one's doing a thing about it. No one wants to do anything about it.
But we can't do anything about it. We can't tell Cablevision to remove the cable.
We can tell them to get out of town.
No, we're working with them, and they have come in, and they've been somewhat responsible, but if you remember what Mr. Latello's comments were, he said they have, he was quoting them, this is a very low priority for us. That's what we're up against, is that it's a low priority for them, yet we're still getting some stuff taken down by Cablevision and Verizon, and there's another small provider out there, but we're pushing as far as we can, but our goal is to get into the agreement so that we have a right to enforce it.
An agreement is going to fall back to where we are right now with this.
No, the
Moving
agreement will
forward,
take
I want
place.
them interested in getting where we are today so we can get it cleaned up before we start all over again.
Yeah, but any agreement we have would require that, whatever service wires are around would have to be trimmed within a certain window of time after termination of service, or, we'd have to put that together. And we would give them the list that we have of all the other locations and say, and starting fresh, you need to clean these spots up. That's our goal.
Well, I have a couple of suggestions. If we can't get it done, I would assume we go out there, CWA, and get an assessment and see what they say. Because if you take a look at those telephone poles, the way those wires are strapped together, there is no procedural way that anybody would sign off on them. None. I also recommend the DWP people maybe get CERNed and trained and certified in cable management.
Yeah, but Frank, we can't touch their cables.
I'm not asking you to touch the cable. I'm asking you to review it and evaluate it. But if we don't have the skill on the staff, we can't do it. Very simple. I'm not asking them to touch anything. But when you take a look at this, and Joe, if you take a look at Scarsdale Avenue tomorrow morning, they are paying attention to nobody. Nobody. And I don't think we should let them get away with it. And if we have to terminate it or force them to come back and get it, I'm for it. I can do without it. The idea is that when people add, move, and change vendors for their cable, they need to understand that there may be additional cost if you want the wires cut. And that should be covered in the new contract, very clearly. And the protocol has to be outlined down to the nth T. Because I wouldn't let any of these guys that put the cables up in town anywhere near my house. It's a disgrace. I'm looking forward for you to get behind it, get it resolved. I think 6 months is long enough. We're still working on it. But Tony, if I was in the general world and my boss didn't have something done in 6 months, I'd be sayonara.
If they were working for us, it'd be a different story, but they're not. We're not their boss.
Well,
That's
we
the
have a
problem.
contract with them.
Yeah, but the contract doesn't mention anything about a removal of Cablevision wires or.
Well, maybe we missed it that time. Maybe we missed
But
it.
nobody had it, because it was a science that didn't occur, because there was only one cable company in the whole town. And then we just ended up with a second company, but now it's proliferated. So now it's time to make a change, and that's what we're doing. But you have to be patient, because it's not going to happen overnight.
Give me a window.
I can't, because I don't know when the contract will be concluded. And also, P.S., keep in mind, even though we come to terms, it's up to Verizon to get the approval of the Public Service Commission as well, which I don't think is going to be a problem if both parties agree. But, you know, this is something that's an issue that we've brought to the table that we want to have rectified. That's the best that we can do. We cannot demand, we cannot, fine them, we cannot, go to court on it, because we don't have the authority, because we don't own it. That's like Verizon coming to the town and telling us that from now on, our recreation people have to do the following, or, you make something up, our cars have to use propane gas and nothing else, they have no authority, they have no right. Like, we don't have any right to tell them what to do, but we're seeking that right in our agreement. But it has to get worked out along with, the other 30 issues that have to get resolved as well in that contract.
To say the least, I'm disappointed.
Well, we can't make you happy then, because we're doing the best we can in a situation that we don't have any control over, that we're trying to get control over. Thank you.
Not something I'd agree to.
Okay.
Amen.
We respect it. We're doing the best we can.
We need to do better.
Thank you. No one else, right?
I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Anyone else? No, good. Okay. Anyone care to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.